Hi, my dear students. Now I am welcoming you to the online classes of business regulation, Vyavahara Kanunugulu. So, in this session, we are discussing about the syllabus of business regulations, ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. So, in this session, before we are discussing the syllabus, we should discuss about what is meant by business regulation, what is the need of the business regulation, why we need this subject. It is very, very essential. Why we need this subject of business regulation, it is very, very essential. Each and every industry, each and every organization, either it may be administrative purpose or it may be a controlling purpose, anything else, we need some rules and regulations that is very, very essential for the growth of the organization. Therefore, to control and to monitor and to administrate, we needed certain rules and a certain act. It should be controlled each and every activities. Why? Because business is not a simple concept, simple topic. It has a wide area of coverage. So we commonly know that what is meant by business is nothing but trade plus commerce is called as business. It is a in a simple sense. ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ಯವಹಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಅಗತ್ಯತೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಅಗತ್ಯತೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ಯಾಕೆ ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರವನ್ನ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಲನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಒಂದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮತ್ತು ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯವನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವ್ಯವಹಾರವನ್ನ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಾನೂನುಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಆಡಳಿತಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತೆ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ವಿ ನೀಡೆಡ್ ಸಮ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್. Each and every individual person who is studying the degree course, it is very, very essential, should know what is the rules and regulation regarding the business activities. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳನ್ನ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬ ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯ ತಿಳಿದುಕೋಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ in later days you should do the business. In that sense, what is the rules and regulations regarding the business? So it is very, very important. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಯು ಸಹ ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ಯವಹಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತಹ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳು ಏನೇನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಾನೂನು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೊಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ and it is a very easy subject also. If we study, if we concentrate, if we focus, it is very, very easy subject called as business regulation. Now we are moving on the next one here, the syllabus of the business regulation. It is very, very important. We have 5 units. We have 5 units in the business regulation. Those 5 units also very, very important. Each and every unit contains the important and valuable information regarding the business law and business rules and regulations. Before this, the subject it is called as a business law. Later on it will be changed into business regulations. ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. In this concept, the first unit is the introduction to business law. The first unit is introduction to business law, and after that the second unit is, so the first unit is introduction to business law, ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಪರಿಚಯ, and the second unit is contract laws, contract laws, ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. The second unit is ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. And the third unit is competition and consumer laws. Competition and consumer laws, ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ರಾಹಕ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ರಾಹಕ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. Then the fourth unit is economic laws. The fourth unit is economic laws, ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳು. And the fifth unit is environmental law. Environmental law, ಪರಿಸರ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ. So this is the 5 units we have in the subject of the business regulations. So business regulations ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ 5 units ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. In that, first we should discuss about the unit 1, introduction to business laws. What is meant by introduction to business laws? We should glance it. ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಪರಿಚಯ. So in this we are discussing about the some of the important concepts called as nature law, introduction, nature of law, a meaning, a definition of business law, scope and sources of the business law. ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯೆ ಏನು, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತು ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಲಾ. So these are all concepts we are discussing in the unit 1. So in this unit 1, it's a 2 marks 1 question and the 6 marks 1 question. In this one, there is no 14 marks questions. It is rare case they are asking 14 marks questions. So first of all, what is meant by business? We should know about in the first unit, what is meant by business? In simple terms, business is an economic activity. In simple terms, business is an economic activity. So what it means, business is an economic activity and they are conducting each and every activities called as purchasing, selling, distributing, manufacturing. Each and every activities they are involving based on certain legal rules and regulations. This is very, very important one. And this business law we also called as mercantile law. This business law we also called as mercantile law. Here it deals with each and every transactions, in a legal way. So in this, what is meant by law? It is very, very important. We should know the meaning of law. What is meant by law? Law is nothing but is a body of principles. Law is nothing but is a body of principles we are applied in administration for the purpose of justice, whether in the system of society or in the system of government, to control the crimes, to avoid the breach of the agreements, to give the importance to the social relationships. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರಗಳ ಕಾನೂನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಕಾನೂನನ್ನ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ತೊಂದರೆಗಳಾಗದೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಮತ್ತು ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಹಾಗೂ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಯಂತ್ರಿಸುವಂತಹ ಶಾಸನಬದ್ಧವಾದಂತಹ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪನ್ನು ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ನ್ಯಾಯ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಲಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರಿತೇವೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರೋದ್ಯಮ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾನೂನು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಲಾ. ಇಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇಸ್ mercantile law and the commercial law. It is under the heading of civil laws. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ, ಸೊ ದ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ articles has been divided into two types: national rules and regulations and the international rules and regulations. In this national rules and regulations, further we are divided into two types called as civil law and criminal law. Civil law and criminal law ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಮತ್ತು ಅಪರಾಧ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಟೂ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಸಿವಿಲ್ ಲಾ we are studying about the business law also called as mercantile law as well as commercial law. So this is the important point we should keep in mind. So business law has another names. And after that, this in the first unit, we are discussing about the nature of law. So nature of law is nothing but, so what are the characteristic features of the business law? So business law is universally applicable law. Business law is universally applicable law. It will be applied throughout the India, including Jammu and Kashmir. Why? Because they are removing the 370 articles. Therefore, in the first unit, we are discussing about the concept called as introduction, nature of the law, and the meaning of the business law, as well as the definition of the business law and the scope. So where we are applying these business regulation rules and regulations, when we are applying this one, and the last concept is sources of business law. As sources of business law is nothing but, so where we are extracting the entire law and rules and regulations relating to the business in olden days. So in the olden days, we are introducing only the law based on the religious. So Hindu law is totally belongs to the Hindus. Islam law is totally belongs to the Islamian people and Muslims. And local laws, it will be local rules and regulations, except these religious people, all those people comes under the English law. So where is the origin of the business law of Indian rules and regulations? The origin is English law. English law is the origin of the each and every rules and regulations of the Indian business laws. So this is the brief description regarding the simple description regarding the first unit of introduction to business law. ಮೊದಲನೇ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳ ಪರಿಚಯದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ನ್ಯಾಯದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ನ್ಯಾಯದ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾಗೂ ಆ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನ ಯಾವ ಯಾವ ಮೂಲಗಳಿಂದ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಪೂರ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದೂಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂದೂಗಳ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ, ಮುಸ್ಲಿಂಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಇಸ್ಲಾಂ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ, ಇತರರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಮೂಲ, ನಾವು ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಮೂಲವನ್ನ ಹುಡುಕ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಭಾರತಕ್ಕೆ ಆಂಗ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಏನು ನ್ಯಾಯ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಆಂಗ್ಲರ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನೇ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಲವಾಗಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೋ ಆಂಗ್ಲ ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ನ್ಯಾಯ. ಆಂಗ್ಲ ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ ರೂಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ first unit. After this, the second unit is unit 2. In the unit 2, it's a contract loss. In the unit 2, it is a contract loss. Basically, we should know that what is meant by contract. It is very, very familiar word for us. We so many times heard this word. What is meant by contract? Contract is nothing but it is a rules and regulation. It is an agreement. Agreement made between the two parties. Agreement made between the two parties under certain consideration. Without consideration, no person is not entering into a contract or agreement. So this is the very, very important point. In this unit, basically we studied two more important contracts. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಒಪ್ಪಂದಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಪ್ಪಂದಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್. So each and every contracts comes under the Indian Contract Act 1872. This is the most important contract act. This is the first contract act. We should study about this. So basically what is meant by contract? I'm once again telling you a contract is an agreement made between the two or more parties which the law will enforce. In simple terms, according to section 2 subsection H defines a contract as an agreement enforceable by law. In simple terms, contract equals agreement plus enforceability. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದಾದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಒಡಂಬಡಿಕೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಒಡಂಬಡಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರಿತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿ ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 1872 and the another act is Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930. Indian Contract Act is totally relating to the what is meant by contract, what are the essentials or elements of a valid contract. Each and every contract is not a valid contract. Why? Because some people they are made the contract with the friends for funny purpose. It is not a valid contract. But some people they does the contract for the purpose of consideration as well as it has a legality. Why? Because they are registered these contracts under the Contract Act of 1872. Therefore, it is very, very important. And if any person breaching the contract or break down the contract, why? Because some people they are break down the contract because of so many reasons. We don't know that reasons, but if they are break down the contract, remedies or compensation is very, very essential. Without compensation, the another party, why? Because for example, I am accepting to supply some products to the another person means in that situation if I am fails to supply the products, what happens here? I am break down the contract. So in this situation, I am held responsible to compensate the second party. So therefore, remedies also we are discussing the under the Indian Contract Act of 1872. This is the most important contract here. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಭಾರತದ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಅತ್ಯಮೂಲ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ಕಾನೂನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ನಡೆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಊರ್ಜಿತ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಕಾನೂನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ನಡೆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಊರ್ಜಿತ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ. ಆ ಊರ್ಜಿತ ಒಪ್ಪಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅತ್ಯವಶ್ಯಕವಾಗಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಂಶಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಒಪ್ಪಂದದ ವಿಧಗಳಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಪ್ಪಂದಗಳು ಒಂದೇ ಸ್ವರೂಪವನ್ನ ಪಡೆದಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಒಪ್ಪಂದಗಳಿಗೆ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳು ಸಹ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಭಾರತದ ಒಪ್ಪಂದ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ the second one is Indian Sale of Goods Act. Indian Sale of Goods Act. Indian Sale of Goods Act 1930 ಭಾರತದ ಸರಕುಗಳ ಮಾರಾಟ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ 1930. So this is also one of the most important act we are studied in the second unit. So here in this one we are discussing about the definition of the contract of sale. What is meant by sale? Sale is nothing but we are transferring the ownership of the product from us to another person or from one person to another person. This is what we called as sale. So sales is very, very important. Why? Because some situations, some people they are selling in consideration of cash, or in some people they are selling in consideration of credit. So in this situation, so what is the important rules and regulations must and should follow? Why? Because today's sales transactions is not in the form of thousands, it is in the form of lakhs, it is in the form of crores, it is in the form of millions. Therefore, it is very, very important each and every contact of the sale of goods and the conditions and the warranties and the rights and responsibilities of the buyer as well as seller. What is the rights of unpaid seller? If any customer they are not paying to the seller, what is the rights he has? Each and every concepts we are discussing in the act called as Indian Sale of Goods Act. That is what we called as ಭಾರತದ ಸರಕುಗಳ ಮಾರಾಟ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ 1930. This is very, very essential. Each and every commerce student must and should know about this contract act. So these are two most important acts we are studying in the unit 2 called as contract laws. In this unit, we getting the two marks questions and one 6 marks questions and one 14 marks question. So this is the very, very important chapter for us. After that, the next one is third unit called as competition and consumer laws. Competition and consumer laws. ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ರಾಹಕ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ರಾಹಕ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳು. Competition is very, very essential in each and every situation. Competition is very, very essential in each and every situation. But what type of competition we needed? We needed healthy competition. In India, there is no monopoly sellers. In India, there is a multiple sellers. No single seller as selling each and every goods and services. So many sellers they are selling from the different prices. For the different prices, they are selling goods and services. In that situation, what happening? Because of unhealthy competition, some sellers they are suffering from the loss. Therefore, in India, to protect the customer interest, to protect the customer interest, customer objectives, we introducing called as Competition Act of 2002. We introducing act called as Competition Act 2002. In this Competition Act, ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. In this Competition Act, so we are discussing about the objectives of Competition Act, features of Competition Act, and Competition Act rules and regulations, offenses, and the penalties under the act, and the Competition Commission of India. Sir, what is the need of the Competition Commission of India? Each and every transaction, each and every offenses and penalties held by the CCI. It is popularly called as CCI, Competition Commission of India. So in this commission, they're looking down each and every transaction. If any offenses is made, if any penalties they are held, each and everything is under control of CCI. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ. ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ನಾವು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸಕಾರಾತ್ಮಕವಾದ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರವಾದಂತಹ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಏಕಸ್ವಾಮ್ಯ ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹುಸ್ವಾಮ್ಯ ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಒಬ್ಬನೇ ಮಾರಾಟಗಾರ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಲವಾರು ಮಾರಾಟಗಾರರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ನಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾಗುವಂತ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾಗುವಂತಹ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ತಮವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆಯೋಗವನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಆಯೋಗ, ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಆಯೋಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪೈಪೋಟಿ ಆಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಅಹಿತಕರ ಘಟನೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳು ಆಗದೆ ಇರಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಯೋಗವನ್ನ ಜಾರಿಗೊಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ we are also studying about the another act called as Consumer Protection Act. Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Consumer Protection Act of 1986. In this, we are discussing about the what is meant by consumer, what are the consumer forums, and what are the rights and duties of the consumers. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾಹಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು, ಗ್ರಾಹಕನಿಗೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳು ಯಾವ್ದ್ಯಾವುದು, ಗ್ರಾಹಕನಿಗೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಆಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ದೂರನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಬಹುದು. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ complaint agencies, either it may be a district or it may be a state commission or it may be a national commission. So these are all concepts we are already studied in the second PUC, Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Also we are remembering here. So this is also one of the act we are studied under the third unit. In this unit we getting the 2 marks question, 1 6 marks question and 2 14 marks question. After this, the next one is fourth concept or the fourth unit called as economic loss. Economic loss also is very, very important here. In this economic loss, we are discussing about the two important acts called as Indian Patent Laws 1970 and the FEMA Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದು ಸನದು ಕಾಯ್ದೆ 1970, ಎರಡನೇದು ವಿದೇಶಿ ವಿನಿಮಯ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ 1999. ಅಂದ್ರೆ so innovation is very, very important and the rights will be protected. For example, trademark, for example, patents, and each and every patents a trademark. So we are discussing in this act called as Indian Patent Acts, and what is the rules and regulations held by the WTO. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಶ್ವ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಯಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೇವೆ. The next one is FEMA, ವಿದೇಶಿ ವಿನಿಮಯ ನಿರ್ವಹಣೆ ಕಾಯ್ದೆ. FEMA is very, very important concept we are discussing here. Why? Because foreign currency, it will be flows when we are exporting, foreign currency will be inflows. When we are importing, foreign currency will be outflows. So this is very, very important concept. Foreign Exchange Management Act is very, very important. Why? Because some persons, they are money laundering. Money laundering is a major problem in India. So as well as, so if any offenses and the penalties as well as the currency exchanges, each and everything comes under the FEMA Act 1999. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ವರ್ಗಾವಣೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಣದ ಭದ್ರತೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ದಂಡಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಣವನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅವರು ದುರುಪಯೋಗ ಪಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ ವಿದೇಶಿ ಹಣವನ್ನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾವಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ FEMA ಕಾಯ್ದೆ ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತವೆ. So in this unit we are getting the 1 2 marks question and 1 6 marks question, not in the 14 marks question. After this, the most important unit, the fifth unit called as environmental law. Environmental law, Parisara Samrakshana Kaide. So 1986. In this unit, we are discussing about the each and every environmental protection rules and regulations, objectives, definitions, and how the environment pollution is made, and how the environment pollutants we are discussing, and the hazardous substance. It is the most important 2 marks question. And what are the types of population, how the central government and state government taking the precautionary measures to control the pollution. So these are all we are studying in this unit. In this unit, we getting the 1 2 marks question, 1 6 marks question, and 1 14 marks question. So this is about your syllabus. Once again, I am telling you, the fifth unit is Environmental Law, Parisara Samrakshana Kaide 1986. And the fourth unit is we discussing about the two most important acts, economic laws. The first act is the Indian Patent Laws, Sanadu Kaide 1970, and the FEMA 1999, Videshi Vinimaya Nirvahana Kaide. And the next one is in the third unit, competition and consumer laws. The first one is the Competition Act 2002, and the second one is the Consumer Protection Act 1986. And the second unit, we are discussing about the contract laws. The first one is the Indian Contract Act 1872. Second one is the Indian Sale of Goods of Act 1930. And finally, we discussing the first unit called as Introduction to Business Laws.